From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and Chief Technologist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Mr. Alan Lee with me, and Alan and I are going to talk all about copycats and how to protect yourself from copycats in the e-commerce world online. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by All-in-One WP Migration, the most trusted WordPress migration plugin with over 60 million sites served. Whether you are switching hosts, changing domains, or moving to a new server, All-in-One WP Migration makes it one click. Try it for free at WordPress.org or visit servemass.com for pro features. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I've got my guest with me, Alan Lee. Hey Alan, how you doing today?
Hey Rob, I'm doing good. How about you?
We're gonna I'm doing good. We're gonna talk all about copycats and how to protect yourself from those copycats. So what led you down this journey that you're in on protecting your business? So how did this come about?
Yeah, so I'm an e-commerce owner. I'm sure different people struggle with different types of IP, but for the purpose of this podcast, my experience is most related to e-commerce. Just want to make
Yeah.
that clear. Um, yeah, so I've been doing e-commerce for 10 years. Had a little bit of success, and the business that I'm working on now, the brand, is a home goods brand called Green Philosophy. Um,
Okay.
we sell plant-shaped pillows like this one, like succulent-shaped
Oh,
pillows,
those are cool.
and other types of plant pillows that really blew up during COVID.
Mhm.
And afterwards, I was just you know dealing with just like this army of knockoffs, copycats everywhere on every
Yeah.
channel, right? Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Temu, all those channels, right?
Hmm.
And I saw my sales drop by, over 50%, over the last few years, right?
Yeah.
And like most people, I started Googling how to deal with this, right?
Hmm.
Um, I've tried sending takedowns, which, for people that don't know too much about DMCA, it's a process where you can file a complaint with the
Yeah.
platform
Correct.
to take down, said infringing content, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, having a mix of success with that, eventually it being very unsuccessful, to the point where the platform just kind of ignored you, after you send like hundreds of takedown requests, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it just stopped working, right? And then the copycats came right back up, and my sales started decreasing again, right? So
Yeah.
that's when I went down the rabbit hole of learning about Schedule A and how it's a type of lawsuit that can be used on a contingency basis to remove multiple people um, from one trial, right? To go after multiple people in one trial. So that's what I've been building the last, you know, I want to say year and a half, is to help people with this exact problem, but doing it in a way where it's not super costly in terms of money or time consuming for them.
Yeah. Um, it's really hard with sites like Temu because they're offshore. They're not even here. So that is a whole new ballgame. It's much easier I would think if the site was in the US where you are, Canada where we are, that would be probably an easier go than trying to deal with somebody overseas, wouldn't it?
So when you go after these people, Amazon's not the defendant, right?
Yeah.
The you go after individual sellers on the platform.
Hmm.
Now, of course, you have to work with Amazon to take down their listings.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the same process, right? I mean, namely, we mainly go after um, infringers from Asia.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
I think we all know who the country is,
Yep.
without saying. Um,
It starts with a C, by the way, if anybody
ends
wants
with
to
an
know,
A.
right?
Just
Yeah,
so you know. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so really the process is the same, right? And in fact, we
Mhm.
have had quite good success enforcing against Temu sellers.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
well.
Other channels are much more difficult. Like, for example, Alibaba is very difficult
Yeah. Yeah. That was
because
going to be the other one I was going to go to. Yeah.
they, they just you just can't touch them because their data's in China, their servers are not in the US. Um, and they charge a fee of $40 to file a complaint against each individual sellers, which I'm not sure that's actually legal or not. You know, it sounds
Yeah.
kind of like the Strait of Hormuz toll.
Yeah, you're funny. But
Yeah.
it's true. And then you get sites like Wish, you can throw them into the mess. And in the clothing industry, I hate to say it, you can throw Shein right into that mess to some degree because, you
Hmm.
know, I have a partner um, who buys plus size clothing and refuses to buy anything from Shein because we all know in the fast fashion world there's lots of copycats out there, different than what you're doing,
Hmm.
but very similar process. Um, it's got to be really hard to find a lawyer who understands this stuff because I just know from my business, I'm lucky. I've got a lawyer in my locally that understands digital, and that's half the
Mm.
battle. I think a lot of lawyers don't get the digital world the way you and I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely challenging to find the attorney.
Hmm.
I like most people, you just go on Amazon, right? Or sorry, you just go
Yep.
on Google and you just say like, you start typing in all kinds of things, right? And you
Hmm.
start seeing, kind of ads pop up, and no one is really trying to solve this exact problem that you have,
Yep.
right? And so, I mean, these days it's a little bit easier actually.
Hmm.
I wonder if people search things like, how do I sue multiple Amazon sellers at once
Yep.
for IP infringement? I wonder, like, what shows up, right? Maybe it's easier now into the AI. But um, yeah, I called like 30 law firms, and 20
Unbelievable.
29 of them said no. Um, and the reason is because like usually this type of work is done on contingency.
Yep.
Because you're going after like I was going after like 20 30 people at once, right?
Hmm.
So uh these law firms would just say like this is too much for us, right?
Yep.
And the 30th one, I got a referral from my current partner Nick, who's my co-founder for Copycats.
Hmm.
Um, that's the company that I'm working on, by the way. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, then he saw our case for what it is, right? Which is just IP theft, right? People were just
Hmm.
copying us left and right. Um, and then helped me kind of actually, until this day, until today, we've been kind of suing multiple, kind of in batches of 4 or 5 sellers, for these cases, right? And I've successfully taken down, um, I don't know, man, like probably 10 millions of stolen merch that would have been mine,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, and that's where we're at, you know?
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
hard. I don't know if I told you when we talked before. We have a mall in the Toronto area called Pacific Mall. It is a
Yes.
Chinese. Have you heard of it in Toronto?
I've been there. I've been to Toronto once, and I'm Chinese myself, but
I know you are,
I'm
but
American, right?
you know where I'm going with this. And if you walk through Pacific Mall,
Yeah.
95% of the goods in that mall, I can almost guarantee are
Counterfeits.
counterfeited.
Yeah,
And I can tell
exactly.
you the RCMP is in there every month. Every month they confiscate. And the biggest joke with that mall is if you're like me, I'm a white Canadian male, I walk through that mall and there's nothing around. In a minute, all
Yeah,
the stuff's like under the counter. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and so you know exactly what mall I'm talking about. And the bottom line is it's the same problem, except it's not online, but
Right, right.
is part of the problem the laws. Is laws
Yeah.
in North America part of the issue here that they don't take this serious enough?
Um, I actually don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about Canadian law, but I
Yeah,
would
but I'm
assume there
talking
would
general.
be, well, in general, yeah. So, yeah, I would say, part of the issue is that most people have a misconception that, you know, lawsuits are expensive. I mean, let me take that back. I think it is, right?
Yep,
But I think most people don't kind of, they kind of stop at just like the first no that they get. They just get
yep,
discouraged and they just give up, right?
yep,
And that's what I kind of went through, right? Like, imagine calling 30 firms and they all tell you no.
yeah,
Right? You're like, am I right? Or something like seriously,
yeah,
fucked,
yeah.
right? So, I think it takes kind of the, kind of like the persistence, right? To kind of
Hmm.
keep going and
I
learn about
agree.
this, right? So
Yeah,
I think that's one aspect is just nobody's really talking about this issue because the laws are actually fairly straightforward in terms of
okay.
enforcement. It's just more about like, okay, once you have the data, how do you link the data with
Yep,
the arguments
yep,
where it makes sense, right?
yep.
So it's not an issue of the law. I think it's an issue of lack of awareness.
And I think, honestly, I think with product where we're at is where the music industry was at 20 years ago when Napster came out. I hate to say it. I think to some degree we're in that same problem. We haven't
Hmm.
caught up to, and we know out of Napster the changes that got made in the music industry and how things
Yeah.
shifted, and it's not the same, but it is very similar in the fact that
Yeah.
sometimes people need to catch up. And my first response would be, I'm a sports fan. I'll tell you that now.
Same.
And I know I will not buy merchandise or merch from a store that's not reputable. I refuse
Right.
because they're Chinese knockoffs. I'll say the word. I have no problem saying it. And they're
Yeah.
Chinese knockoffs, and
Yeah. We all love Chinese knockoffs.
there's royalties
Yeah.
not being paid. Do you
Yeah.
know in the sports business, if you put a player's name and number on the back, there's royalty paid to the Players Association, and people don't realize. So they say, I got a great deal. I got a sweater and I didn't pay for the name and number. Well, do you realize pardon my French, you're screwing the league and the player and they don't look at it
Yeah.
that way. But if it
Yeah.
was them, the other problem with knockoffs from a consumer perspective, and this is why you want to protect your brand even more, they're usually inferior in quality and very often inferior in safety and material. And that
Yes.
is a big, big problem.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think with everything being so expensive right now,
Yep,
you know, nobody's gonna do anything wrong just buying some knockoffs just to save some money. I don't trip up on that. I'm not like
yep,
against, in fact, knockoffs make my business
yeah,
in some weird, effed up way, right? So, um, but yeah, to your point, I think, you know, that's why people need to be educated about,
mm,
the harm,
yeah,
both from a business owner and a consumer perspective,
yep.
you know?
And you're selling a pillow. And
Right.
but
Throw a pillow.
but yeah, agreed. What does that sell for typically? Can you share?
Uh, we sell this for $45 for this.
US. Yep.
Yeah, US. Right.
And
You
what
know,
are the
so
knockoffs typically selling for? Probably 20, 25, I would think.
yeah, there it is. Yeah, around there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you if you looked at 9 out of 10 of those, the quality's inferior and they don't
Oh
last and
yeah.
they don't.
Oh yeah.
You know
Definitely.
where and you know where
You
we see
know?
a lot of knockoffs, not just online, it's in discount stores too, right? You got to be careful.
Yeah, it's
You s-
all yeah. I mean, IP theft is it's a problem that is known to the beginnings of men, right?
yeah,
Of humanity, right? So we're all taught to like kind of, you know, like in school you're not supposed to copy, right? But in the real world that's completely not true. Like everybody copies
yeah,
everybody,
I
right?
agree.
So from that perspective, I'm not like, like a social justice about this issue from that perspective. I look at it just as like, okay, as a business owner, if
Yep,
I invest $5,000 to make this
yep,
problem go away,
yep,
what are the R what's the ROI, right? And I'll
yeah,
tell
yeah,
you, the ROI is, at least from my perspective, is, my sales right now have almost tripled this year.
hmm,
Since I've been, suing people this last 2 years, right?
yep,
And taking them down, right? And so,
yep.
the important thing is understanding like you're now able to reclaim your market share.
I agree.
You can now raise prices. You have pricing power again, right?
Yep,
And then you're actually building your brand goodwill with the consumers, which is ultimately what they care about, right? And so those are like the, you know, tangible and intangible things
hmm,
that you need to grow your business to stand out, right?
yeah.
Um, and especially in the world of AI, like copying is just so let's just
It's
snap
getting
a
worse,
finger.
not better.
It's snap
It's
of a
getting.
finger, right? I can anyone can copy anyone in seconds, right? So if you don't have IP that protects you, you're kind of yeah, you kind of you're gonna be left to the wolves, you know?
Yep, I agree. Um, so people say, and you sort of hedged on this before you said it's not as expensive as you think. Well, we all know lawyers are expensive.
That's
I
what
will say
everyone
that
yeah, they are.
having it depends what this, but having been involved in 3 or 4 major lawsuits, personal and business wise, in the last couple of years, it can be.
It
There's no
can be,
question.
yes, for sure.
Um, is it worth doing? Like beyond to protect your brand from a financial impact, is it really like if it
Yeah, let's
costs
talk about the
you?
numbers.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
what I
let's
want to
talk
hear.
about the
Talk
numbers.
about numbers. Sure.
Yeah, so Uh, you know, most people come to us have a incomplete set of IP registration. They
Okay.
might have just kind of the most basic. They have a trademark for their brand name,
Yep.
but they
Yep.
don't trademark their product name. They don't have copyrights for the product name. Or if they have a patent but not trademark or copyright, right? So you really, the dream case is when a client has all three, right?
Yep.
And because each types of mark allows you to protect kind of a different element of how you're selling this product, whether it's visually, verbally, um, or even creative expressions, right? That's what basically
Yep.
copyright protects, right? So, you know, I would say like looking at it now, back then it felt like I was wasting money just trying to register for trademarks and copyrights.
Mhm.
But I mean, they're not that expensive, right? But especially nowadays, you can just use ChatGPT to do it. That's what most people should do first is just ask ChatGPT what kind of trademarks, copyrights, and if you have a patent, it's a little bit different process. But yeah, you should understand that just as basic as accounting, right? Like IP should be as basic as accounting. Like people should have a
No
basic
question.
understanding of it, you know? So,
Mhm.
um, so yeah, for numbers, you can ex depend on how big your catalog is. You can expect to spend at least, five to maybe $10,000 registering the right IP types, right?
Mhm.
But understand, like those things last for like, you know,
Years.
it, years, right? Decades, right? Your entire life's
Yeah.
work, right? So, uh, in my case, I had to spend maybe a couple $1,000s to kind of register these additional marks that would give me, more kind of coverage, which is not that
Okay.
much, right? And then for working with the attorney, the agreement was that, I would put down like a $5,000 deposit.
Yep.
And, if they collect over a certain amount, you essentially get that money back. So that's what the contingency is, right? And then after that, you do a 50-50 split with the attorney, basically,
Okay.
because they're taking a lot of risk, right?
Yeah.
And, filing lawsuits isn't free also for the law firm, right? There's like court fees, there's like bond that you
Yes.
have to post, there's
Yep.
servicing fees where you have to hire
Yeah.
somebody to serve the paper to them,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Um, and just kind of, you got to purchase samples. Like, like it costs us, I would say maybe any given case, maybe a couple grand, 2, 3 grand to that's just the administrative cost that
Hmm.
we don't, so I think it's totally fair for, the contingency, right? Um, to cover some costs in the sense that you don't, collect any money back, right? So,
Yep.
anyways, in the first batch, I think I went out for like maybe 8 sellers, right?
Okay.
Um, and it wasn't like a crazy amount that I collected, and a lot of it just kind of came in chunks at a time
Okay.
because you're negotiating with 80 different people, right? At least your attorney is, right? Um,
Yep.
and so it was like, 5,000 there, 10,000 there, 3,000
Yep.
there. But then once you add it all up, it was like, okay, it was close to like almost 50,000. Of course, I've got to
Mhm.
split that with the attorney, right?
Yep.
But it wasn't like, you know, it's not bad, to be honest.
Yeah. Do
You're
any of
not,
these case do any of these
yeah.
cases actually make a courtroom, or do they typically all get settled long before that point?
So, uh, the short answer is 90% of these cases will settle, right? But
Yep.
once in a while, you will get into a situation where somebody wants to really fight, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually in a suit right now with this particular defendant. You know, he we've tried multiple settlement attempts, right? But he just won't settle no matter what, and he said he won't take down the listing, right?
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, actually, the judge is like ordering a settlement conference.
Oh wow.
Because they don't want to waste anyone's time, right? Because it's a small squabble at the end of the day, right? We're talking about just the difference of a few $1,000s, right? But obviously, like my issue with this person is that they won't take it down.
Yeah, it's more an integrity. It's more an
Yeah,
integrity issue than a
it,
financial. I get that.
it's like okay, what I'm not gonna let you sell my account. Like I'm not gonna let you undercut me and copy my product. Like no matter what, right? Um,
Yeah.
so in that sense, the contingency arrangement works out for the brand owner
Hmm.
because these additional litigation hours obviously they cost money, right? Like
Yeah, of course I do.
these are the real hours that then the lawyer has to kind of do extra work, you know.
Yeah.
So it works out for the brand from that perspective, and
Hmm.
from the lawyer's perspective, it's just it's more work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they already have so
So,
much work.
in terms of time frame, uh, give me give the viewer and the listener, like, what do you usually, from the time you file to the time somebody settles, what's kind of the average? And just for
Yeah.
fun, how long have you been into this last one you were describing for? It's the freaking best.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing?
No, yeah, no, I don't care. These are all public information anyway. It's all federal cases, right? So you
Well,
can
federal
just
court cases you can look up. Yeah,
you
there's
can you
no
can look them
question.
up if you want to. So uh so I've been filing suits since the late of 2024, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I would say that I've done maybe I think like 10 cases now from
Okay.
2024, end of 2024 to now, right?
That's a few.
Yeah, so but I'm also kind of more personally motivated. And because I've been developing AI tools to obviously help me do these cases faster, right? Or to
Yeah.
to also then help our clients, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say now, coming towards this now, I would say that, it depends on the completeness of everything. Let's just say you had everything complete. You had your trademarks, your copyrights
Yeah.
all registered, you had kind of an initial list of suspects, right?
Yep.
Um, we'd be able to kind of expand on that list,
Mm.
find probably additional infringers, include them in the suit, capture all the evidence, draft all the documents, and file it probably within, a week, you
Okay.
know, which is kind of unheard of for this type of legal services, by the way. Like lawsuits takes a long time to file, you
Yeah, they
know.
do. They're forever.
But, with the with AI being, so good these days for at least this type of task, we're able to kind of drastically reduce that time, right? And when sellers are having this problem, a lawsuit is kind of like one of those things where you just want to you just want to deal with it, right? Or you just want to get it over
Yeah.
with, right?
Yep.
Um, and so you know I would say using kind of that cadence. I mean, that's a abnormal amount of cadence, right? I would say most people can probably handle maybe two cases per year, as each case to truly conclude takes about 6 months, you know?
Okay.
But throughout the time, like I said, if you're lucky, depending on how things go, you might get small disbursements, like
Yeah.
5,000 here, 10,000 there,
Yep. Yep.
20,000 there. It depends. It's all, there's no way to know, right? You gotta, you
Yeah.
gotta, you gotta turn over everything, right? And that takes
And then
time.
this one that the judge has ordered a settlement conference. How long you been into that one for? Just to give some.
This one, I think it was around November of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's already been 6 months,
So
right?
the
But
odds are it's probably gonna go
it's
another 6 months, more than likely. I hate to say
no,
it, right?
no. I mean, to be honest, like there's not that much work to do for you as a brand owner, other than just getting kind of updates here and there, right? And like I said, you can actually Google your own case, and
Yeah.
they kind of they gave you the whatever public information is there, you can kind of find it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we're talking with our clients, letting them know the process of how these things go, right? Um, so that they're mentally prepared. And
Yeah.
to be honest, it's a very small dispute. It. I think in the beginning I was kind of like getting more emotional about it because it was like you
It's
know
personal.
it's
It's
personal, right?
personal.
It's
It's a
personal.
personal
So.
attack. Yeah.
But after doing like 10 cases, I'm kind of like I don't even really care that much about the
Yep.
outcome that much, right? It's
No,
just
I
kind of
agree.
like okay, it's just like this is just like accounting. This is just like something I got to deal with as a business owner,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And like lawsuits are just like they're just part of
It's
uh
part of, I hate
it's
to
part of the
say,
game,
having, it's part of running a business,
It's part of running the business.
and you got to take the personal out of it because emotionally it will kill you mental health wise. And you just got to say, hey,
Exactly.
I'm in business. Like I have an accountant, I need to have a lawyer and I need to deal with,
Legal
I don't
issues.
care if it's IP issues, if it's contract issues, whatever it is, you just got to be prepared to deal with it. And
Yeah.
that's the whole fact of running a business. And I think that's important. Now, are
Yeah.
you, besides running your own business, trying to sell the pillows that you sell, Are you actually helping others solve
Yes.
their IP problems?
Yes. Yeah. So we've got a dozen of clients right now. It's keeping us pretty
Oh,
busy.
good. That's awesome.
Um, yeah, so we always have new cases kind of coming up, right? I mean, the
Okay.
problem is just so pervasive. You know, and millions of people deal with this issue. And
Yeah.
so for I would just say AI has been a blessing for us,
Yep. Yep.
right? For this type of work especially. And we're using the shit out of it,
Yeah.
and I think it's been, yeah, it's been very, interesting to see it
Hmm.
from, as a layman, to see it from like
I'm sure.
this perspective, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sure.
yeah, and so now I'm just out, talking to smart people like you who understand this issue and like, you know,
Mhm.
it's unsexy, but neither is accounting, right? But like, you
Yeah.
need to know accounting.
Nor is doing your taxes, nor is sending out invoices. I mean,
Right.
that's just what I call mundane tasks that aren't sexy, but they're necessary to draw the revenue into the business. And so is this. Protecting yourself is necessary to
Yes.
make revenue. Because if we let this all turn into the Wild West, then you're not going to make any money. And why are you in business? I agree.
Exactly. Yeah, it comes down, lawsuits just like anything, right? It just comes down to like it's just a business decision at this point,
Yep,
and
yep.
right now we're trying to make it so that it makes it easy for the average business owner to say, okay, I can invest $5,000, potentially get 50,000 or
Hmm.
100,000. Like
Hmm.
obviously that's a no-brainer, right? But at the
Yep,
same time, we have to also be very careful and not overpromise things,
yep,
because then people get upset, right? So
yep, yep. Yep.
that's why, I whenever people are like, yeah, talk about the numbers, like I can say for myself, it was worth it.
I,
That's just
yeah,
personally, right? But for someone else, maybe that's not worth it. But for me, it was like, okay, I spent maybe 5,000 total legal fees, but I've
that's
gotten
it.
like, you know, 10 times that back. More
Then
than
you've
10
done well.
times. And yeah,
Then the ROI from a financial standpoint is there. If you've
exactly. It
spent
was like a no-brainer.
5,000 and you've multiplied it by 10, every business owner would take that kind of ROI every day to the bank. Like that just makes sense. I have to ask you, you've
Yeah.
been through all this and you've been through protecting your business. How's your mental health and all of that?
Good
I gotta ask,
question.
because that's fair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, please.
It's it was it was difficult dealing with this issue on top of
Yep,
personal issues, that you might
yep,
be having, right? Like,
yep,
and a few years ago I was having, just like not so great in my time because, just a variety of different reasons, right? I was like,
I
you
understand.
know,
Been there.
just coming out of COVID, just various different issues. I moved, I got married, I had a kid, it was just a lot, right? So to deal with this on top of it, it was just like, okay, it's a little overwhelming, you
Yeah,
know?
it is. That's
Um,
nice.
but obviously now I feel a bigger relief because, time goes on and you know, it's a Friday, right? It's like if there's any like advice that I can give, it's just like you just can't let the small things bother you,
You're
you
right.
know?
Absolutely. I
And
have to ask, I gotta ask,
yeah.
so did you deal with it on your own? Or did you go see somebody to help you deal with it? Or both?
Uh I used to see a therapist a few years back.
Good for you.
Yes. Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna say right away, congrats and awesome. Because
Yeah, it was
I'm in that camp, so
uh,
I have to tell you.
for sure, for sure. It's definitely helpful to like talk to somebody who's
Yeah.
just a more objective person who's like just trying to,
Yep.
share with you different perspectives to get you to think about things differently, right? And I would say like it's helped me a lot to kind of not care, so much about the outcome of things,
Yeah.
but more than just like understand like, okay, this is just a thing I gotta do, and I'm
Yeah,
not gonna really care about the outcome if I know that I'm doing the right thing, you
yeah,
know? And it's kind of like you have to stand up for yourself, right?
yeah,
At the end of the day, right? So
yeah, yeah,
um, if you feel like, people are taking advantage of of your
yeah,
business, which is an extension of you, right?
yeah.
To be honest, right, it's like no, I mean, no one's gonna really help you unless you decide to kind of take the action yourself, right?
You're absolutely right.
And I think that's what sort of, you know, taught me now, right? Where
Hmm.
it's like, if you're feeling anxious or depressed, you just got to find some type of activity to just keep you moving,
Yeah,
because if you dwell on shit, it's just like it's not gonna help, you know.
yeah. Is your family supportive?
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, it wasn't. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. Like these
Yeah,
these lawsuits, right? And especially like, if
uh,
you work with us, we basically handle everything.
yeah.
Because we
I
do this
did.
as a business, and
Yeah, I know
and
you do.
but I think I have decently supportive families.
Hmm. I
You
think
know,
it's important for those of us in business for ourselves. I've had people in
for
my life,
sure.
past people, and they weren't necessarily supportive of what I did, even though I was bringing in money. And it's like,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And then my current partner is the most supportive person on the face of the earth to
That's good
me.
to
So
hear.
I can't,
That's glad to
and
hear.
I think you've gone about it the right way. I think that's really important. Um, if somebody wants to talk to you about help with IP takedowns or any of that, what's the best way to reach out to you, Alan?
You can go to my website, copycatch.ai.
Okay.
We catch copycats for you.
Yep.
Um, and there's a link where you can book a call, and you know, we'll chat. Obviously, I'll see the call, and I'll probably email you, ask you some questions.
Yep.
Make sure it's a good fit. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
because it's like you're gonna be like dug in the trenches with somebody for a bit,
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
I see the clients that we help, and they're very happy.
Yeah. And I
You
and I
know,
think you need to protect your business because
yes.
again, if you don't protect yourself, why are you in business in the first place? And people think of, as I say, common things, clothing, jewelry. How many? I have a good friend of mine in the jewelry business, and how many people try and convince him to make fake Tiffany stuff, and he won't do it because
Hmm.
it's just a no-no.
It's not
And
really sustainable.
yeah,
You might make, I mean, I I always try to see it from the other side too. And
yeah,
that's one technique that I kind of also use to make me feel better about things.
yeah, yeah.
Because you're just like, all right, well, what could be their reason, right? And it comes back to kind of more of a human
Hmm.
reason. It's like they're just trying to make money too, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, they're not trying to hurt you necessarily. It's not a personal thing.
It's not personal. It's just, yeah, it's
It
business.
it's just a business for them too, right? And
Hmm.
to be honest, man, like these freaking guys, they made like, well, I don't know the net profit they made, but like they made millions of sales
Yeah,
off of our little product, you know?
yeah,
So it's not like there's no money in it, right? Like I think that's a real thing. It's like there's a lot of money in IP. There's a lot of money in creating it and protecting it, and it just adds immense value to
yeah,
the enterprise of any
yeah,
size, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know like big companies are forever
Oh yeah,
doing IP
for
protection. I
sure.
mean, on goods constantly. I mean, the big companies, but they have different resources, right? So than you
Exactly.
or
They
I do.
got,
So that's
yeah. But, that's where kind of AI can help equalize, right? I think I'm just trying to talk about this issue where it becomes second to none to
yep,
something like accounting or finance or marketing even, right? Because everybody
yep.
loves talking about marketing, right? I've
Oh
been
yeah,
doing marketing the last 15 years. It's the
me too.
same regurgitated bullshit that's just with a different skin on it.
Yep, of course,
Today it's
of
called
course.
UGC, tomorrow it's called AGC, who knows, right? But
Yeah,
I think fundamentals is where, I think people need to return to that, right? It's like understanding uh, how to create unique services and products that
yep,
serves, a specific niche, right?
yep, yep.
Um, so, and when you do, make sure you protect it because otherwise, why are you even doing it?
I agree.
You
I
know?
one last question I have to ask. In the world of tariffs, and we know what state the world's in right now, especially in Canada and the US,
Mhm.
has this gotten any better, or has it gotten worse, or is it the same?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I hate to get political,
Go
but
ahead.
I
I do
think
too, but
yeah, I think tariffs and like in some weird ways, yes, it's unpopular. I understand that completely, right? But it does kind of create this barrier to
yeah.
people want to copy you, right? Because, these Chinese sellers, now it's just like if somebody wants to copy you, that's a consideration now that they have to all of a sudden take versus before,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
then in America they closed that de minimis
Yep.
loophole. That
Yep.
was where a lot of the drop shipping was happening was because packages under $800.
Under
No,
$800.
no
And I can
customs
tell
at all, right? Like
and
it
I
was
can tell
crazy.
you I just had a gift that I shipped a friend of mine. I'm in Toronto, so I'll tell you that now. And he's in Conway, Arkansas. And I'll tell you what the package was. At one of the Raptors games, they have a partnership with the WWE and they were giving out wrestling masks. And this friend of mine is a staunch wrestling fan, so I figured I would send him the mask. And the blasted paperwork I had to do to send. Now, it turned out because the mask was valued at, $20 and it wasn't an issue and it was a gift. But because of all the tariffs and the loopholes closed, the paperwork you have to do through an app to send stuff to the
Oh,
states
wow.
has increased. And by the way, in the Canada's the same thing right now. Is unreal. Like it's just like, and even at
Yeah.
the post office, they have no clue. They just point and say, "Go here," and it's like, really, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard to, calculate if it's like a net positive or a net negative, the tariffs,
yep,
you
yep,
know? So I'm just gonna say maybe it's neutral. Maybe it's net neutral,
yep.
you know?
We don't have that issue in Canada with Chinese tariffs yet. On most things, there's a few things,
Yeah.
but it's not the same reaching. So
Yeah.
it's uh, it's a
Yeah.
bit of an issue. But
Canada's great. I love Canada.
come, come,
You
go
know,
in
I was
Texas.
just in Vancouver like in February. It was nice. It was like a little chilly, but
Vancouver,
not too chilly.
Vancouver's nice in February. It doesn't really snow there, and it's gorgeous. And
It's great. The
we
food was
are we
great.
are we're headed there in July, the end of June for a World Cup soccer game. So we are headed
Ooh,
there in Vancouver.
nice.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Who's your team?
Canada.
Canada?
That's who my team
Okay.
is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is the
We
US in?
yes, they're in. They're a
They're
host
in.
country. The
Oh, okay.
Canada, U.S., and Mexico are all in because they're host
Oh, because
countries.
of the
And
hosting.
yeah, hosting.
That doesn't really feel fair.
Yeah.
But whatever. Uh,
Alan, I really appreciate the conversation and the transparency. I mean, we touched on everything from the business side to the personal side. And I would encourage anybody is if you're running into this as Alan's doing, take the time and protect yourself. Reach out if you need help. Um,
Definitely.
it's not that hard. Get the help you need, protect your business, and stay in business by doing so.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. Thanks for
Thank
having me,
you.
Rob.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Yeah, have a great day, Alan. Talk to you soon.
Night. Night.
Thanks again to our sponsor, All-in-One WP Migration by ServeMask. Export your entire WordPress site in one click, import it anywhere. No server access needed, no command line, works with every hosting provider. Free on WordPress.org or extension at servemask.com. A very special thank you to Alan Lee for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.